Hey everybody, Sean here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in Crashing the Boys, grabbing the ultimate Milo Master achievement. This one is to win the championship, winning every single bonus medal only using Milo. Make sure you start up the game, and then what you want to do is want to make sure you hit start once you get to the title screen, and make sure you skip the opening cutscene. Make sure you set the mode to normal, one player, and with all the events. Then you are going to pick your character. You want to make sure you pick Milo. Milo is going to be on the bottommost team, which is going to be Jefferson High. He's going to have very low stats for this, so this one is going to be quite the challenge. Thankfully, to make up for this achievement is going to allow you to use the shop, therefore you can use power-ups to help you out. So, starting up the game, you want to make sure you head into the item shop and make sure you pick up some items. The most important thing you want to make sure you grab is going to be the spin kick. So make sure you grab that. That should make the first event super duper easy. So now that we have that out of the way, it's time to head into the entryway to start the first event. So you are going to do the 400-meter hurdles. This one is super easy thanks to our power-up. Just make sure you jump and you should do the spin kick. If you manage to collide with the other racer, you should knock them out. You can also use the spin kick not only to get over the hurdles, it will also knock out the topmost hurdle. What I recommend doing is whenever the opponent gets ahead of you, make sure you take out one of the tall hurdles and then make sure you pick up the hurdle bar and you actually throw it at them. As long as you keep your distance, you should be able to win the race. In order to get the bonus medal for this event, what you have to do is you have to make sure you come in first in all 3 heats. And obviously, placing first in all 3 heats is also going to win us the event. So you can knock out the bonus medal and the win in the same go. So with that in mind, keep in mind the spin kick is not going to make you fully invincible. The opponent can also throw the hurdle bar and still clip you if they time it well enough. So again, take advantage of those save states. You also want to keep in mind the spacing of the hurdles. You definitely don't want to spam the spin kick. You want to kind of time it so you can get over the hurdles and not accidentally land too early and then clip the next hurdle. Nonetheless, this is going to be the basic strategy you are going to use in order to get to the goal, making sure you use the spin kick frequently but not over relying on it, and making sure you time it as well. Just do that for the other 2 heats and you should be able to take home the win. If at all you lose, just make sure you revert back to a previous save state and you should be able to take all 3 heats super duper easily, and then nab not only the event but also the bonus medal. So coming across the final heat, even if the opponent has way better stats than you, the spin kick is going to more than even out the playing field in our favor anyways. So just make sure you keep trucking forward and keep spin kicking your way to the end. If you manage to take all 3 heats, you should take the event and then mount the podium. Now, the screen right after this is going to be the most important in regards to this achievement. It's going to be the leaderboard. So obviously, placing first in all 3 heats is going to give us the top of the leaderboard, so that should say Jefferson for 15 gold medals. Now, in regards to the bonus medals, the bonus medals are going to be whoever is at the bottom of the list, and they should always be rewarded with 5 gold medals. So at the end of every single event, you need to make sure that the bottommost team is going to be Jefferson, and they are going to be the ones that get the 5 gold medals. That's what's going to count towards the achievement. Now that we got that out of the way, we can start the second event, which is going to be Hammer Throw Golf. You're going to pick your character. Remember, you need to stick to Milo in order to get this to count for the achievement, since you can only use him. Make sure before you get started, you head over to the item shop. We are going to pick up a couple of things in order to make the event super duper easy. The 2 things you want are going to be the rocket, which should cost you 4 gold medals, and then the sonic spin, which should cost you 10 gold medals. You should have plenty since we took first in all of the heats of the last event, as well as those bonus medals. So make sure you grab those, and then make sure you head into the next event. Alright, so the goal of the next event is to not only win by scoring in as few strokes, but in order to get the bonus medal, what you have to do is you have to make sure you get the most distance in a single throw. Having the rocket power up will obviously make that super easy because you can just throw it and then the rocket should pretty much carry the hammer as far as it can. Hopefully you don't land in any bodies of water or anything, but make sure you just keep throwing and you should be able to get a hole in 4. So this is going to be super duper easy. This is pretty much a gimme, especially if you just use the power-ups. And then all you have to do is just try to keep throwing. And then once you manage to get your goal in, you're going to have to watch the other team go. And then all you have to do is just make sure you make a save state after you go. And then if the team happens to somehow miraculously beat one of your throws, you want to make sure you just load up your suspended save and then just keep trying until you roll someone who is going to be a bad shot. So make sure you let the other team go, and then obviously they are more likely than not going to fail, but you may get an instance where they do well. So make sure you have those backup saves in case that happens. So hopefully things play out in your favor and you play against a pretty cruddy AI. Nonetheless, you should mount the podium if you manage to win, and then you should also get your bonus medals if you had the biggest throw. So keep that in mind, and then we can move on to event number 3, which is going to be swimming. Again, we need to make sure we stick to Milo, so make sure you pick him. And then before you get started, we are going to be at the shops. Make sure you pick yes, and then we're going to get some power-ups. So make sure you head into the shop. The only thing you really need is going to be Chomper, which is going to be the topmost thing for 15 gold medals. And now that you are all powered up, it is time to head to the event. So this next event is going to be swimming. In order to get the bonus medals, what you have to do is you have to make sure you grab as many gold coins as you can. So the point of swimming is to try to drown the other opponent in order to knock them out. So you can dive underwater, you can try to beat them up with your fist, but the main strategy for this is to try to jump on top of them, and then you want to stay on top of them in order to keep them underwater. The gold coins are going to spawn randomly as you continue on the race. As long as you grab about a handful every heat, you should be more than good for this. Having the chompers does help out, because what you can do is you can have the chompers deal damage to your opponent, and then while they are being piranha chomped, you can dive down and then grab any gold coins that pass by. So you kind of want to make sure you keep an eye on both things. Try not to destroy the opponent right away. You kind of want to play things out and try to grab a few gold coins, and then with that, you should be good for the bonus medals. But also make sure you keep in mind you do have to win these. So try to be fast, but also try to make sure you keep a handle on the coins, and then you should mount the podium in first place and also grab your bonus medals. This one's going to be 3 heats, so make sure you keep that in mind. If you happen to roll a high stat opponent, make sure you take the time in order to grab as many gold coins, especially if you didn't grab too many in the early 2 heats, and then just make sure you let your piranhas take care of any of the heavy lifting. So you happen to notice a really big string of gold coins, make sure you do take advantage, and then once you manage to win the heat, you should be good for the event, as well as the bonus medals and this part of the competition. So make sure you check that out on the results screen, make sure you mount the podium, and make sure Jefferson is not only at the top of the list, but make sure you also are at the bottom in order to get those bonus medals. Then it's on to the penultimate event, which is going to be event number 4, which is going to be rooftop jumping. For your character, again, make sure you stick to Milo. Even if he is running low on health, we are able to grab some health during this event, thankfully. This one is going to not require any power-ups, since the power-ups in this aren't going to be too helpful. Started up, your goal is not only finish the course, but in order to get the bonus medal, you have to make sure you have the furthest vault. So you can get that very easily, especially on the first one. Just keep moving forward, and your goal is to just memorize the course. The course is never going to change, so if this is your last achievement, you should probably have this down by heart at this moment. If not, you can always take advantage of the save states, which are going to be super useful. Other than that, I recommend picking up the 2 health potions that appear along the way, since you do need health for the final event, so make sure you grab them, and that way we don't have to spend any money at the health store. We can spend it on power-ups, which we need more later. So just keep trucking forward and keep taking advantage of the save states, and then you should be able to get the course in a super duper quick time. Try to aim from anywhere from 50 to 55 seconds, and make sure you don't fall into the pits, obviously, and if you do, that's what the save system is for. So here we are coming across the finish line. Make sure you make a save once you are on the last straightaway. The reason for that is if you happen to roll an opponent who is going to be faster than you, you can just reload the last save, refinish the course, and then hopefully you can roll an easier opponent on the next go around. So keep an eye on your competitor. Best case scenario is they're going to fall into the pit a bunch and get a do not finish, but even if they do finish, hopefully they don't score any big jumps or anything, and then hopefully they get a worse time than you. Again, recommend keeping that save handy in case they do beat your time. If all goes well, we should mount the podium, and then we should be given our 2 leaderboard spots, our spot at the top, as well as our bonus medals on the bottom. This is going to bring us to the final event, which is going to be the fighting scene. So with this one, we're going to, again, stick the same character. Hopefully you picked up those health potions during the last event. If not, make sure you stop by the drugstore, but you want to make sure you try to save your medals for the stuff we are going to need at the power-up store. The 2 things I recommend you grab are going to be the Quick Up and then the Spool Job. We're going to be a little bit frugal in order to save our medals, so make sure you just grab the Essentials, which is going to be the first thing on the list, and then the 4th and final thing on the list. So make sure you carry those with you into the fight, and then your goal for the fight is not only to knock out your opponent before they can knock you out. In order to get the bonus medals, what you have to do is you have to make sure you land the most special moves. So you can stick to your strategy where you just attack them them and then make a save every time you land some damage. But if you want those bonus medals, you have to make sure you try to land as many special moves as you can. Special moves are going to be those moves when you get into the clinch and have to do the little button mashing minigame. Make sure you try to win as many of those as possible. Remember, the person with the highest PP bar is always going to win, since they are going to have more time to tap before the other person runs out. So make sure you keep that in mind in all 3 heats. Only go for clinches if you have more PP than the opponent. In between clinches, all you have to do is just mind your space and try to land basic attacks in to try to lower their PP. And when you see a clinch spot, make sure you go for the clinch, and then hopefully you win the button mashing minigame, and then that's going to add to the amount of special moves you have. Try to land a handful every heat, and you should be good for having the most at the end of the event. Make sure you do that for all 3 heats, and you should be good. If you are still having trouble, what I recommend doing is try to land your handful of special moves at the start of the fight just to get them out of the way, and then just fall back on the strategy where you hit them. Every time you are successful in landing a hit, make sure you make a quick save, and every time you get hit, just make sure you load up from that quick save, and you should be able to whittle anyone down that way. Or you can do the classic, get your health above them and just run around in circles, keeping your distance, and run the clock out. Either method should work well in terms of stalling the game in order to get you the win, either by being cheap and using save states, or being cheap and just running the clock out like a coward. Nonetheless, however the case, you win as long as you get more special moves in than everyone else. You should be good for the bonus medals as well as taking the event. So just make sure you do that, and then once you manage to beat the last guy, you should mount the podium one final time, which is going to guarantee us winning not only the event, but the rest of the competition. And then if you happen to land all those special moves, you should get your last set of bonus medals. If you happen to get the bonus medals in every single event, as well as win every single event, you should be a shoo-in to win, but also get this achievement. So make sure you get your final tally, and then mount the podium for the Grand Championship. And then hopefully your bonus medals are in place, and then our achievement is going to pop once we get to the credits. So there it is. This one is going to be for 100 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.